said.
It's a lot, isn't it?
I hope if I ever ask Karen to help, she'll just slap me because she'll be like, no, we're not gonna do a grant in 14 days. Fair.
Yeah, she was awesome.
He is.
Okay.
Yep.
He's not feeling well.
I knew he was, I didn't know.
Awesome. Okay. We're live, we're good to go? Okay. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start this workshop. I know we've invited the Y to be here, because we started a conversation at our last board meeting, so I think we could start out with that if everybody's good, so we don't hold any longer than we did last time.
Whatever your time is, I'm here, so.
No, this one's a little more low key, so I think we can kick it off and start with you and, I don't know if anyone else had thoughts that they've come up with
Are
or.
we sitting or do we need to be official?
You can, yeah, it's weird. Is that fixed
yeah,
to the
okay.
thing?
This is
the
fine.
microphone fixed to the?
No, I'm okay, yeah. Fight.
Yeah, I just didn't know if that
Science.
might.
We're good.
Yeah,
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 so that you
could
could
sit
sit,
down,
like you don't have to.
and then just, the mic isn't. you can
I'll
just
take
put
care
the-
of it.
No, and then. Yeah, we just need the microphone, that's the only thing.
It's just for you.
I just want you to stand.
Oh, okay, super, thanks.
Yeah, it just feels awkward when you stand.
We have to sing all our answers today.
Perfect, well, you can sing.
Sing into the
I'll hum,
microphone. Yep,
I'll whistle.
Did I miss?
yeah. Didn't you get that memo? You didn't?
Here we are, okay, so, I don't know if somebody wants to kind of kick us off, I know last time we kind of.
I would
Had a
like to
conversation?
start by saying that I feel like there's a lot of emotion and strong feelings on both sides of this, and I would like to say that I would like to start off by saying anything I say is not personal. I will maintain respect. I think it's important to know how to have respectful
Appreciate that.
discourse, and I just want to put it out there that that's where I'm coming from.
Great.
To start.
Same. I don't know if you have any, I know we asked for some information from you that Lindsay had shared with us.
Yeah,
I don't know if anybody, if you wanted to, I don't know where we want to go with this. It's a workshop, so it's really more of an informal conversation, just to keep the conversation alive, because I think we all agreed we weren't ready to make a motion at last meeting. So this is really information gathering, conversation having, so that then at our next board meeting, because you obviously need a decision for your program and we need a decision for the town, so.
and
kind of figure
completely
it out
understood. Yeah.
there. Okay. Does anyone have any specific questions that you wanted to kick off with, or any data points that you wanted
No,
to?
they,
clarify, or-
Madam Chair?
Andy, were you able to talk with the board at all
When?
since last meeting?
No. I did not have any conversations with anyone since that meeting. I didn't know that it would be appropriate either way.
I think what he's talking about, Andy, is at the last select board meeting, they had asked if you would go back to the YMCA.
Oh, my board.
And-
I thought you meant this board.
Oh, yeah, no.
No, yep, we had a board meeting this past Tuesday. Some of them have actually saw and took the time to look at the video of the meeting. Their understanding of our point and perspective, and feel that the data that we've collected and passed on is fairly accurate in regards to the cost of operating and being operating the park as it has been. There's a historical perspective of the overall numbers of what we net loss or gain, and I think there's concerns about what that looks like. And one of the things that I mentioned at the last meeting is, and the board, my board, I'll make sure I'm clear on that. My board was feeling that the amount of time and energy that it takes to operate a program of this nature, with at least a minimum of 6 to 8 employees, and the risk that we take to take that on with any potential, things that can happen with employees, from injuries to mimic to all the different things that go on. We don't feel that we're asking too much, and it's been a surprise to me that at the last board meeting of the level of concern that was, because at the workshop our workshop in the fall was that I thought we were moving into a 1-year contract based off of what we've done in the past, and that at the same time we were taking some corrective measures to improve upon the relationship that was existing prior to the last year and a half, 2 years. I'll be very clear again that we recognize that we dropped the ball on a few things, and we're willing to try to make this work and leave this relationship. If that's what's going to end up happening in long term, then I don't want the relationship that we've had and I feel a solid relationship over the years of the work that we've done, that had been mutually beneficial to both organizations. And I think that's where I was a little bit frustrated, if we're being honest, last week. It felt like that there was that was not the perspective, and that you guys have a direction you want to go in, and if that's the case, understood. But just need to know where we're going to go, and if there's other questions to help with formulating that relationship and regaining the relationship that we had that was very strong, then willing to evaluate that. So
I think that the Y is a good thing for our community. I think it has been in the past at Bunga. I still feel like I would like to move forward with the 1-year continuation. I know there's been talk of floating around about closing the park for a year, which I really am dead set against that. And for reasons of that will give us a better time and a way to think things through to see where we want to go. I think we want to eventually be operating and managing ourselves. I had thought that if we do this 1-year contract again this year, and then we start moving into that realm of managing the park and stuff and taking that off the Y, that if in fact at that time we wanted to continue that they could at least have a new option to lease. I got to apologize too. I'm having a hard time spitting my words out.
It's okay.
It's all-
I may have the same problem at
and
times.
so I mean, it would be nice to be able to have that option to be able to lease that to them and take the responsibility of the operating the park off of them and put it on us. We had talked at the last meeting too, there was some stuff that came forward about technology and being able to have the ticket money and the receipts and all the sales and stuff coming to here to the town hall. And I think that would be a useful tool for us to be able to move in that direction. I understand that this has been going on for 5 years and nothing's happened, or nobody did anything about it, or whatever, but I feel like this is a step in the right direction to doing that without a knee jerk and a ready, fire, aim kind of a way to look at it. I've had people reach out to me this week and after the last meeting and say, thank you for being the voice of reason. And that actually kind of buoyed me to thinking that I still feel like it's fair and the right thing to do. Respectfully so.
And I think one of the comments that were made at the board meeting that my board brought up for the individuals that took the time to watch the video was that there was a comment made during that meeting that you guys had estimated on your own what that cost was being. It was going to be in the $40,000 range. And so paying us $41,000, it doesn't seem like it's a big reach. So if your numbers is that's what was stated and that was accurate, it kind of also was part of what frustrated me with the way the conversation was moving last week.
Madam Chair?
Yep.
Along those lines, Andy, you provided us before with a document, Town of Lyman Financials 22 to 24. Just want to get a handle on what it cost Y to staff the booth. Now, under salaries, there's a figure of about $38,500. First off, is that's for the 6 to 8 employees that you were speaking of who would be in the booth?
Yeah, it's not just the employees of that. It's somebody managing those staff to make sure that they're there.
Okay.
So a backup in case someone can't make it. It's the amount of time that is developed over the year, during the year to coordinate, come to meetings, be involved.
Okay.
So it's not just at the booth. It includes that leadership person.
Right. So 38,500 was the figure there.
Mhm.
There are other items here: recreational and crafts, liability insurance, business forms and stationery, equipment maintenance, repairs, materials. But the bottom line in terms of staffing the booth was the salaries figure, correct?
That is correct.
All right.
Yeah.
So again, 38,500.
Yeah.
Now, you have before us a estimate as to what it costs to have one person in that booth, correct? That's
So
the $21,314. But in the contract, we've specified there has to be at least 2 people in there. So you would double that. So we're now talking about $42,629.40. Even that, I think, is a little bit, I'm not criticizing these figures or who put them together, but that's predicated on the notion that there'd be one person in there 10 hours a day, 7 days a week for a good portion of the summer, which is unrealistic. If anything, if as the contract specifies, 2 people in there from Sunday to Wednesday, there's 40 hours right there. So we'd be paying time and a half from Thursday to Saturday. 30, but this is predicated on the a rate per hour of $20 per hour.
Joe, if I could just, this sheet you're looking at
Right.
that I sent you guys,
Mhm.
it's just calculating how many hours it's open and if you
Right.
paid someone 20. It's not saying that we would make somebody work 70 hours a week.
I'm saying
It's
just
just giving
let's
you a
work
dollar
with that figure, indeed.
Yeah, yeah. You could split
But-
it up however you want.
Indeed, but at the very least, you'd have to double it.
Well, I'm not
Numbers,
arguing. I
12,000.
just wanted to clarify that's how the
Right.
spreadsheet works.
Okay,
So
but all I'm saying here is Again, that bottom line for a person, 21,000, double that at least. And again, if you do the computation in terms of time and a half for the time when you're beyond 40 hours per work week, I calculated that to somewhere in the ballpark of about 43,700 and that is dividing it up among a number of people, at least 4, so that people would be doing like 5-hour shifts and not going over 40 per week. Anyway, that's,
So I'm not sure of your question, Joe.
well, my question was, how much did it cost the Y to staff the booth? Again, according to this, 38,500 approximately. And what I'm computing is for us to do it directly,
Mhm.
it would be somewhere between 42 and 43,000.
Yeah, and
Yes.
it depends on what you're using for a salary.
Right.
Not everybody's going to be paid maybe $18. Some might be 15, 16, 17.
Mhm.
Part of the cost and when we in our last contract
Mhm.
was right after COVID hit.
Mhm.
We had an explosion in 2 things. Number 1, the cost of salaries, and number 2, the lack of the labor force and
Right.
the challenge we have with the labor force.
Mhm.
So, when I think that what you're trying to say is that calculation that we used is based off of a certain kind of an average salary,
Right.
but it depends on who you get and what you need.
Mhm.
And if I can only find individuals that are going to be paid at the $17, $18 range,
Mhm.
then of course that's going to be cost more.
Mhm.
So I understand what you're saying. And yes, if you look at those numbers, it kind of states that maybe you should be paying me $43,000 to do it.
Or we'd be paying,
Or you could be paying for it yourself, right?
Mhm. At approximately the same, if
Yeah.
not a little more. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Anyone up here have any- Dave, did you have anything that you wanted to ask or clarify or speak about?
No. No.
Okay. I'm just gonna mimic, some similar to what Vicky had said. I hear what we're trying to accomplish with a net zero. I'm not opposed to that. I think that takes time. And I think to Andy's point, I manage people and it's not a fun job, especially in today's world. I think just there's some ways that the town could get creative about staffing and things like that. I get it. But again, that takes time and I just don't know that I don't think we have the time or the budget to support that right today to be set to open the park this summer. I also just think it's the right thing to do and the fair thing to do to part ways on sort of a mutual understanding of one more year. And you all know, and it's not just like, hey, we're almost February now, which is actually kind of scary, but, and your program starts in June, gotta find a new spot. Like that just feels crappy to me. So that's where I'm coming at it from. I think the liability of managing staff, and the number of times where we would have the potential to close it anyway, even if we attempted to staff it on our own, that's a lot. And we can say, oh, we can do it. But my question is, who's we? I mean,
Go ahead.
that's Lindsay. That's people in the town hall. I think we need some time for over the next year to come up with an actual solid plan, if the plan and the intent is to transition away from this relationship. So that's where I'm at with it.
I haven't heard anything that makes me change my mind. I can't,
And it's okay.
I just think that $41,000 to pay a company, like Vicky, you used the word lease.
I was saying in the
You know.
future, after the year that they manage, when the management part comes away, if they still were wanting to, if we wanted to mutually agree to something so that they could still run their camp there, that they would lease that and pay the town. That's what I was
Okay.
talking about.
Okay, I'm good. Like I said,
Does anyone else have questions or for Andy or information to share?
I mean, I hope that the response to the most recent questions that I just sent in gave you also a perspective of what we have done over the years. And I think that, and I recognize as someone that has been in the business world in a long time, that for those perspectives that have been recently joining the board, have only seen the last 2 years, could understand where your concern is. And I think that, hopefully we've already come about in trying to address those, acknowledging it, and working hard to try to already put people in place that would be leading the direction that would make things smoother, that would connect better, that would improve our communication. But we can't do it for anything less than what's already been there. You can see the numbers, and over the 10 years, I did a 10-year analysis, which I can give you. It shows that we've lost money over the 10 years with this contract in regards to the overall actual cost of operating.
So from the last meeting we had and the conversation pieces I've heard, you guys talked about doing a 1 year, kind of keeping things the same, with the exception, if I don't know how you guys are gonna vote on the contract, but if we make modifications and we make it a 1 year, are they paying for field use? And do they have exclusivity to the park? So I think if you guys want to move forward with a 1 year, I will need some clarification on how you want to handle those two things.
So I think we were clear about field rental and that we have
Yeah.
to.
I've never, this is the first time of ever hearing that we were not being inclusive of everybody's accessibility to the park. We recognize that we had some space that was given to us, or provided to us, not given, but provided to us to operate the camp, because at that time, the town was looking to make that happen, to have a camp going on. The exposure of that camp, especially in 2020, 2019, 2020, 2021, is when we saw, I think, enrollment and access to the park really increase. And that was a combination of the experiences we all had. More people were looking for something to do outdoors. We helped to market that. We helped to bring that out. People coming out to camp saw that. And I think that's where if you look at the data that we've seen, I tried to go through and say, well, why was there such a jump in this and that? And why was there a drop here and there? There's some things that are happening that are also improving overall with the amount of money that is coming in. I mean, when we first started this, and it was a long time ago, we were generating $12,000, $13,000, $14,000 a year in gate fees. And now you're up to $34,000. Some of that has to do with increased enrollment or increased participation. If I can camp in my head, increased participation and users. But it also has, as we've worked together, trying to identify what's the right cost to charge people coming in. And we've worked together over the last 18 years to help nurture that and say, here's what we would do. And this is what we think the value is, because we were there. And so, those are all part of the partnership that went along, and including, all of the things that we did to help with improving the park along the way. That was part of the package that wasn't stated that we had to do capital improvements. We just did it because we had some things, we had the opportunity, and we just made it happen. And so I just hope that doesn't get overlooked in regards to what was happening over the last couple of years.
And so I think, to go back to what Lindsay was asking, I think we were talking about field use. I think the board implemented that across the board for all, not just the Y, not just one organization, just across the board for use of that side of the street. So I think that would have to be part of I'm not speaking for everyone, I'm speaking for myself. I think that has to be consistent across the board as we work towards a net zero. As far as exclusivity, I think are you referring to like the beach section?
Right, yeah.
that
So I
they use?
mean,
think
if they're,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
do you want to maintain that or allow public use?
I think we legally have to, if we allow the Y to use the park, we have to have an area for them. You can't just have members of the general public swimming with kids at camp.
I mean, schools bring kids on field trips all over the place all the time.
I'm
But it's
speaking
totally
for
up to you
myself.
guys. Those are the things I just want clarification on. And the other thing too, I think if moving forward, so like communication on the Wise part, and I know we've had a lot of conversations about that, would definitely, there just needs to be like strong communication. And that would include like, if you are modifying the property, like the town has a right to know what's happening with their assets. Because then in the long term, if the Y is no longer there, the town has to now maintain those assets. So I can understand like if you guys build bridges and stuff like that, and I think that's great. But we also have to like,
Those things were always communicated and approved. We didn't do anything major down there except for the approval of the Board of Selectmen at that time.
okay,
I wouldn't just go in and build something and not have the acceptance and all of a sudden, oh, hey, where'd this come from?
that's fine.
All
but
those things along the way occurred with a cooperative spirit.
So then they must have happened a long time ago. So you're not talking recently of things that.
Like I said, the last 2 years, as you have mentioned, have been challenging for you and for us in regards to the communication piece. Prior to that, there was constant and regular communication. And nothing occurred that we did down there without the acknowledgement and approval of the Board of Selectmen. If we fixed a handle, not a big deal. You know, if we made some small improvements, you guys didn't have the maintenance staff to come in and make those things occur. So I brought our staff in as part of the relationship with the approval of having our camp there, that we would take care of some of those things along the way. It wasn't our fault that some of those things happened, but we still just took care of it as good stewards of the property. And this is where I get frustrated in the idea that, you know, we've been taking advantage of it. That's the feeling I am getting from some of the conversations, that we are taking advantage of you as a community. And that is not the case. Not the case at all.
Madam Chair?
Yep.
Andy, with respect to communications, at your last appearance here, I believe you said something that there is a new Y liaison park manager.
That is
Someone
correct.
who resides within Lyman?
Mhm.
Okay. Are you at liberty to mention who that person is?
I don't
or-
think it's good to say that right at the moment, because if it's not going to happen, I don't want to put that person in a
Understood.
position.
Okay, but
Yeah.
that's in the plan.
That is in the plan.
All right.
Any other discussion on this?
I can let you know that if the swim thing is, I can't operate a swim program with the public moving in and out of the spots. I have to lifeguard it. You guys don't. And that's where a line that I just can't change. It's insurance. It's just not reasonable.
Well, if we were to choose to, as a board, because I can't speak for anybody else, move ahead with one more year, I would keep everything the same financially as it has been, except for the field use. And
Okay.
if you have your swimming area that way with the lifeguard and all that, I understand that, how that is. And I'd be willing to do that, because when the Y is not in session, the public uses that area for swimming. It's not just roped off and nobody can use it ever when the Y is not in session.
That is correct. And that's always been the cooperative spirit that we've had. And that never existed. That space there was never, that was identified as a good space with the approval of the Board of Selectmen at the time, when we brought the camp in and we had a walk around the property. And we talked about what we could and what we would need to do in order to bring camp out there. That was approved. And then so as we continue to use it more, it's turned into being a prime access point into the pond to use for the pond. And especially where it's roped off, it's even more beneficial to you as a park, because now you have an ice, instead of having the big open area where people can just wander and go, for families, they like it because it's roped off. Kids understand a certain area of movement and access. It's easier to monitor. It's much clearer to the bottom because of all the use that we've had. It's kind of pushed all of the sediment off to the side, and it's become I think a really nice spot. But that's my opinion. I'm a little biased in that.
Okay. This is on our agenda for Monday, so we should know.
Okay.
Monday.
And I would ask that you consider a little bit about if we're gonna have to pay to use the field across the entire summer, that to pay the $25 for every hour that we use it across the board, when you're probably not going to get somebody to use that space in a long-term agreement and with guaranteed money, then you might want to consider the cost of that, because that's something that my board has expressed.
It's a new to us thing, and so
Mhm.
I don't see myself personally, I can only speak for me, I don't see making exceptions or changes. Really, we need to know how this is gonna work, so I don't know if that is negotiable. I don't see it that way. If that's what's gonna happen with everyone else, I can't, we can't make special dispensation for others when we're just trying to get this pilot off the ground.
Mhm.
So
I'm
that-
just saying that if I had someone that was going to rent from me and guarantee me a certain amount of hours and time, I might consider, and I probably would consider, that long-term contract being something that would be different than someone that is going to come in for a week, use it for 3 or 4 hours a day.
Right.
Whether someone else is going to come in, and I'm in this world, so someone might come in and want to run a sports camp there, right? They're going to spend X amount of dollars for a half-day program. Yeah, that's great. So you can either have someone that's going to guarantee you some time in there with that usage and work with them. But that's not my decision. I'm just throwing it out as a thought.
So you're saying the Y is guaranteeing that they'll use the field at $25 an hour for a certain number of hours?
Well, obviously what you're asking of us is because you want to use the field and have the opportunity, which has been told to me that, the reason we haven't started to do this in the past is because the Y was there from using the field from 9 to 4, and that wasn't the case. We don't use it from 9 to 4
Mhm.
because we're not over there all day long. We're there for 3, maybe 4 hours a day, depending on the usage and what we have available to us. And it's not the entire field. We haven't used the entire field all the time because we bring small groups across the street at a time, based off of, the program and the schedule of what's there. So, that I'm stating that, at $25 an hour, the entire summer for 3 to 4 hours a day, that's, 4 hours a day is going to cost us $4,500. And that's significant. So I'm just putting the information out and opportunities to do a workshop session with some negotiating.
Thanks for coming back.
Okay.
Again.
So, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, too. And I do understand where you're all coming from in regards to looking out for your community. And I just hope that we're clear on the fact that we don't necessarily want to step away. But that wasn't our goal at all.
Understood.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had that chair warmed up.
It's on wheels. You could have just rode it right over, didn't you?
Kind of cold.
All right, shifting gears. Where are we starting tonight?
Jessica,
Yeah,
I'm burning up. I gotta go.
yeah, understood. Feel better?
Feel better, Dave.
They take care.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry,
Oh,
Darren.
yes.
We'll see you later.
Go
Okay.
home.
Okay, budget fund.
Hey,
So the budget committee met Monday night. We went through elections and that was approved. Contingency, they had a really good recommendation we sometimes use it, we don't sometimes use it. Their thought was to, which I thought was really good one, to take whatever balance we have this year and put it into a reserve account. And then fund it again up to a maximum of $5,000. That way you always have it. You could use it. And if we use it, then we fund it again and bring it back up to $5,000. So that was one of, I don't know if my voice is getting hold out. That was one of the recommendations. So I know we said we would be looking at salaries and benefits tonight. We've had a development, and Lindsay and I need to go back and take a look at it. So that's not in here for this evening. So we could go and talk about general admin insurance, because I now have.
Can we pause for a second? You just brought up the contingency and the recommendation. I'm 1,000% on board with that. I don't know if everyone else is, but I just feel like it's an easy thing to hit while we.
Let's just
are
hit it,
talking
yeah.
about it.
Previously, did we agree to 2,000 then? Is that?
20. So we're at 2,500 for this
25?
year.
Okay,
It's on page 14.
thank you.
My favorite subject on the planet.
I guess I just didn't realize that was an option, so I like that as an option.
I do too. It's a good, really good recommendation.
Page 14?
So I think, so they're talking move what we have this year, if there is a balance.
Yep.
Um,
Into a reserve account.
Okay.
And if we don't use it, and then next year fund it again at 2,500 and move whatever balance we have in until we hit a maximum of $5,000.
Right.
Which, you know, if we get a broken toilet or something that needs to be fixed in a pinch, that would be a really good number. And if you guys don't use it, then it stays there and we don't fund it in the next budget cycle.
So that in essence, the taxpayers wouldn't have to pay for it every year if we didn't use it.
Correct.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah, I can get behind
Same.
4-1, 4-1, 4-1. I'm gonna be consistent. I don't even think we have contingency.
Okay, so I'll write that up to,
It's not a vote, Vicky.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just making a comment. That's all.
I'll put that through onto the worksheet as something you guys want to do. And I like it. So going back, general
3-1.
admin. What?
I said 3-1. today.
So we're still not ready for that. You guys, let me go back further. Amber, you had brought up on page 4 on training,
it. Yes.
memberships and dues. So there was some discussion regarding training for the selectmen. So I gave you a copy of the charter
Mm-hmm.
to consider. Page 4, Joe.
My husband says I can't be trained.
He's wrong. So you guys can look that over for our next discussion, because salaries and benefits pretty much go together.
Mhm.
Health insurance, I had found a formula error, so you'll see that difference from your previous one. Health insurance did go up on January 1st, 9%. So the second half of the year is in there for 10. I don't know where it's gonna go.
Mhm.
You expected that. I think I remember in discussions that we've had previously.
I usually go for 10%, only because one year it happened, it came in at 14. So that, yeah, I know, right? So that, pretty much has been a very good placeholder and it's for the 6 months. We know what the first 6 months will be. We don't know what our last 6 months will be. And I usually figure it in at 10%, because it does happen where all of a sudden, boom, it's a 9% increase, 10%, 14 one year. That was a little rough to take, but we made it happen. So I made those changes so you can mull them over for our next conversation. General admin, it's still the Trio versus Town Cloud. I did get all of the financials over to Rhonda for Town Cloud. She's working on implementing them. And I talked to Ravi, and he's planning on having us, he called like the third week of January, and he wanted to do another demonstration. I forget if it was for the front end or assessing. I don't remember which. But I told him, I said, well, I'm super busy right now. I know Kat is in the same spot. He said, okay, I'll call you guys after the first. I said, that sounds like a plan. So we are still working on that. So let's skip over. The next section is elections. Like I said, you guys recommended $11,350 to the budget committee. Budget committee voted to approve 6-0 on that one. So let's go to general admin insurance. Starts on page 13. So on property and casualty, I took our current bill, figured a 10% increase on that. Just seeing how things are going. I would be willing to bet we're going to come in close there. I think it's enough though. Workers' comp, I got our workers' comp because it goes January to December. And so we know what the first 6 months will be. We know what I gave it 10% for the last 6 months. And then there's always that adjustment for an underpayment. When they do the audit and we implement new people in July, there's always that time period where it's a change. So I wrote that in there, my estimate in there as well. It's less than it was before because we had made a lot of changes that first year. I had no idea where that was going to come in. Unemployment's holding pretty steady, bounces every now and then. If you look back to 22, that's about when we got rid of the fire department. So just to give you guys some idea. And then the volunteer insurance, it's $2 per person. So it depends on how many volunteers. I know we have positions open that are not filled. So I think we're good at 100. Questions, comments?
I liked that they all went down.
Yeah.
That was very nice. I was like, oh, I don't even have to ask.
Hey, Amber, I do look at it, you know.
When you said you had found a computing error,
Yeah, it
in
was
the
in,
insurance, is that to our advantage?
yes, in the health insurance for next year.
Cool.
So when I had written it up above in your salaries and benefits on page 4, it says benefits health insurance. I think it was at 153. Now it's at 136.
Like the
So back to general admin insurance.
I'm good with that one.
You want to move it forward to the budget committee? All right. Vicki?
yes.
Okay. You guys got work to do.
I'm talking.
Look how happy they look.
Okay, so Health and Human Services, the Budget Committee discussed it Monday night, but they didn't come to a final conclusion. Roads, they approved that 6-0. Buildings and grounds they approved that 5-1. So now we're getting down there. Okay, transfer station starts on page 26.
We did that already.
And we stopped at buildings and grounds because people are getting brain
Well,
dead.
you were ready to keep going. I remember
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And we were like, no. We're calling it Vicky.
People get brain dead.
I had a
So this is the calculations here, especially for tipping and hauling, are based on that big spreadsheet that I gave you guys. It looks like we're holding steady. We had that huge bump in 1920 and 2021, but the numbers with tonnage and the number of trips seem to be holding steady now. So basically, it's just the increase in the rates. And there's nothing in here for composting, so I don't know if that's a need or what.
Well, you have
what.
10,000 in here, but I think that.
Oh, yeah.
I think that that's a lot. The grant should cover what if we get it, should cover what we need. If we were gonna do anything, I would say maybe just 3,000.
I can do that.
And I only say that because that would for sure cover what we would need for the farm that'll be picking up the food waste. So that, yeah, for that would be the,
So page 27, Jessica,
Oh, I'm still on 26, I'm sorry.
that's okay.
On 26, under the first category of the contracted services for waste professional services.
Yep.
I just want to make sure I'm reading this correctly. So the 2024 budget, we had 2980.
Yep,
2024 actual was 1161.
correct.
But then the 25 budget, we budgeted 5280.
Correct. Because the refrigerants,
Yep.
people are starting to charge us, what do you want to call it? Extra.
Okay.
So people are charging us extra just to come.
Yeah.
And if they're here for more than an hour, they charge us more
Mhm.
for gas reasons. We did go up on that because the refrigerants were coming in and we needed more money.
Okay.
So we did go up on that. We went up, we're now bringing the Primo, recyclables
Yeah.
directly to Burke Iron Metals
Okay.
and, maybe
It just seems like
covering.
such a big jump. That's all. And I
But
just
didn't we
didn't know if that
also-
was in line.
enter into a hauling contract more recently, last year.
No, she's on this first section,
Yeah,
Vicky.
for the,
So
Sorry, I
it's the
took this back.
refrigerants that we went up on.
Okay.
actually, it looks like we didn't even, because 25 budget refrigerants say 3,000 too.
Correct. But if you look at
That was
the
part of my
24
question,
budget
yeah.
was 2,900
And then we jumped up to like 52.
Yeah,
Do we
this
know if
year.
that, like,
52.
I don't have it in front of me. I apologize. Do we know if that's around where expenses are, like looking like they're trending
Oh.
toward?
I don't have it in front of me
It's okay.
either.
It's
Yeah, I
okay.
have a couple notes to check.
So I can pull that and we can talk about it at your next meeting.
It just seems like a big. I mean, at the end of the day, it's $2,000 roughly, right? But it seems like a big jump.
Well, Randy did find a new guy too. So we've only used him once so far and it might be a good working relationship. He also does tank removals, takes the valves out of those. So it'd be the same guy. But I'm more than happy to go back and take a look at what we were spending on
Just
that.
even if we're like close to coming in at that number for 25, because if we're
Mhm.
not, it doesn't make sense to me to budget. I mean, I know it's a little less, but
Okay, I'll pull the detail on that, take a look at it.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Alright.
So can rental,
Tipping,
tipping.
I don't know. I look at tipping and I know that it's going up, like,
Mhm.
the jump is gonna go up another $10.
Yep.
But statistically, we've not even spent close to. I guess if that's another
In 24, we did 140,000
yeah, but we budgeted 166.
because we didn't know, we were going through that crazy number.
Yeah,
And it hadn't flattened out yet. So tipping, we still left at 1,900 tons. I just don't know.
Well, that's kind of like having a contingency in case people didn't wanna, clean out their house and
It's
stuff.
such a volatile.
well,
It
yeah.
is, and how do you know? And I'd rather have
deal with
extra
this.
that goes back
Well,
into the pot at the end of the year than I
I
would.
deal with this one
having-
too, so I get it. It's just, and we have a contracted rate for that, right?
We do.
Yeah.
So it's going from 97.50 to 107.50.
I mean, I guess it goes back in the general fund, but I always just hate to take it out. And I'm very hopeful that the food waste program will be successful and that we could take 10% at least out of that in the first year.
That'd be amazing.
So that's why I just thought we might be able to drop that down a little bit.
Well, what do you guys think?
I'm not opposed to it, but I also wouldn't want to make it so tight that we shoot ourselves in the foot, so to speak.
200,000 even. It'll be, like I said, 10%, maybe 5% range.
I had 190, but that's, I'm, but I am.
190
Yes.
tons?
No,
Less.
190,000.
Oh, okay.
No.
I gotcha.
Oh, God, not 190 tons. That would be great.
I'm like, what?
Um,
At 107.50.
And how I came up with that crazy number was I just took the 204 and I did if we can take 10% of that weight out of the tipping fee and have that going somewhere else, then
And
10%.
that's still like $5,000 more than what we budgeted for this year.
Yes.
So
10%, taking 10% out of that tipping fee was what, 20,425. So that's where I came up with the 190.
that comes out to
Makes sense.
1,767.441886 tons. Can we round that out? Do you guys feel good
Was
about?
that with or without the 10%? Of,
What I did was I took your 190,000, divided it by the 107.50,
okay.
and that comes out to 1767.441. So what if we do 1770 tons?
Okay, because you're basing it on
She's basing it
19.
on dollars, you're
on
basing
the-
it on tons.
Yeah, yes, thank you, because tons and money, two different things.
Right?
Well, no, they go hand in hand, Amber.
So if we just, so 1710 would be 10% of that tonnage coming back to go into the food waste.
So 190 for the money
Yep.
divided by the tipping of 107.50 is 1767. I feel better at 1770 than I do at 1710. What do you guys think?
You're all
I mean,
saying the same thing, just
Yeah.
differently.
Yes, we're just.
Different
We
yes,
are.
Yes.
we are. So if we did 1770 times 107.50, so that comes out to 192.70.
I could
275,
I'm
sorry.
okay.
190, 275.
Yeah,
Is
if
that
we
what
do, if we figure in 1,770 tons.
It's well over our actuals past couple of years. So
That digs us closer, yes.
So it saves some, for sure. It's still
Yeah,
a
it
little bit
takes-
more than what we budgeted this year, which is great. Because it just in case. Because again, we never, just never know.
Is that a workable number?
192.75.
Yeah.
It is for me.
For me, it is, yeah, I think it.
What do you
Same.
guys think? I mean,
I'm good.
I don't want to shoot
Can we
ourselves in the
also
foot
get- can we
either.
also-
I don't either.
Um,
That's,
I'm asking for more data, sorry. Are we, do we know where we stand with tonnage? Like FY 25 to
You guys
date?
have a spreadsheet. of
It's-
the tonnage
it's in your
loss
book.
and
It's an older spreadsheet. So if you, I mean, no, it's in your packet.
It's very tiny.
Well, I have a lot of data on it. You're the data lady.
That will help me find it.
Well, the writing is very.
I just am curious.
I don't know if I had a hole in the bag or if you dropped your pen.
I don't know.
It's kind of in
It's been a
with all
long day.
the, it's
I
kind of in
understand.
with all of these notes, like the syntax and all of that. So it's, in mine, it was right before the
I
piece
had a
out.
22-hour
Was
day.
it like the first?
No, more in the back wasn't up where I found it. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I can give you some numbers if you want.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Okay,
honestly.
So
That's
in
easier.
2024, our total for this, for tipping, not bulky or recycle, was 1573.86. 1573.86. So 1574. The year before that, it was 1551. And 22, it was 1645.
That's number of tons.
Number of tons.
That's a lot.
So I think 1770. I feel comfortable with that.
I do.
I don't know if it really makes a difference, but like, so we've had an increase of about 400 voters. That's like 400 residents being added
Yeah,
to your community.
good,
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah, so that's 400 people going to the transfer station.
Yeah,
I think the 1770,
Can they
I
go to
probably
the
wouldn't
poll?
go more, lower
So you
than
got,
that.
hold on, can we
I
pause for a
wouldn't need it.
second?
I like, that's a great point.
That's a weird point though, right? I want to ask questions about that point.
Okay,
So there's 400 more registered voters. Doesn't mean that there's 400 more people living in our town. It just means they finally came out and registered to vote.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean they weren't going to the transfer station
Mhm.
before.
could be, but
Or people moved in because people moved out.
then.
So
there-
probably like half, I'm just saying, it's not that nobody new came. I'm just,
Let me clarify that. So if they had moved out, we would have canceled them. So if they moved to another town, CVR will recognize that and it'll cancel it out of our CVR because we're using a state database.
what does it recognize it based on?
So basically, like, say somebody moves to Lyman and I registered them to vote here, but they used to live in Saco. Saco will see that they are canceled
Right.
because I have to cancel them out of Saco in order to register in Lyman. So that if people leave.
So they'll get a negative
I'm
one.
gonna
We
be
get
more-
a positive
I'm
one.
gonna stop asking questions because I'm way off in the weeds about not budget stuff, so it's fine.
No, that's okay, but I also just, so you're right, yeah, it could be
I think that's a
people
good
just
point.
came out and voted.
There's definitely new people. I'm just saying there's.
What I noticed at the last gubernatorial was a lot of young people. So I'm assuming could be kids moving back home from college, living with their parents, you know. There
Yeah.
could be a pattern here where households are increasing.
Yeah,
So I just wanted to point that out.
fair. Sorry, I wasn't trying to shut down your data.
It's
completely.
okay.
I was
I do think that's a good point. And like I said before, I don't want to cut us so close that,
I'm still looking at these numbers.
Mhm.
I think we can do that
Mhm.
to 1770. I wouldn't feel comfortable going to 15
No, I would-
or 16. But I feel comfortable with 1770,
okay,
if that's where you wanna.
Mhm.
I mean, if just looking at the numbers, Vicky, I know we went up another $10 on. But looking at the tonnage that we've done. I think we're stabilizing.
are the rates at the transfer station for disposal gonna stay the same? We,
I think Randy raises them when
They get raised on.
they get raised on the other end, yeah. So you guys want to go 1770?
Please.
I'm
Okay.
good with it
Sure.
after that robust discussion on tonnage and tipping. Thank you, everyone.
I get you. Okay, so we probably want to have the same discussion about tipping, wood tipping, bulky. You see Amber's over there.
Yeah, you know what, I honestly, I don't know anything about bulky. My favorite is MSW, recycling, food waste. I don't know it. I don't know how much, like, I guess I'd have to look at this and see.
$450. So in 23, we did 351. And in 24, we did 361. I feel comfortable at 450. Maybe 400.
I'm just gonna say, I felt good at 400.
Let's do 400.
I think it's a happy medium, just based on this historical data.
Gotcha.
So that'd be 43,000 even.
Yep. Recycling is at 19,550. For
Well,
230 ton. Amber's been pushing the envelope. I had 198 in 23 and 180 in 24. That one,
Plan on doing like a recycling program to get more people to recycle?
Yeah, I've been shooting around this crazy idea of having like a recycling tip of the day there. You know, the days that we're up there. So, yeah, so that will be part of my push for recycling.
I would keep it at 230.
That would be one that I would be like, yes, let's have more tonnage in
Yeah.
recycling.
And North Coast is, the TV monitors, batteries, all that, the light bulbs, all that stuff.
So this, because I'm like, okay, so this fiscal year is going to bring us in. We're going to start July of 25. We're going to go into June of 26, right?
One we're talking about, yes.
Okay, so let me just check something because I just received from the DEP about the packaging
Oh, yeah.
stewardship. So let me read through because they have in here when they're talking about first payments going out.
Sorry.
Yeah,
That would actually, but it would be a revenue.
I get it, I'm just not gonna hold my breath for the revenue, that's all.
I know.
okay, yes, no, never mind. Because first municipal reimbursements are scheduled to be issued the fall of 27. So that would be
The next
for
year.
costs realized in 26. So if we can boost up our recycling in 26, we get a lot of money back in 27.
Awesome. I would, that one, I'd leave. I just,
I'm
Don't
good with
know.
that.
Yeah.
hey, shh.
Trying to tell you how to save money, save recycling.
Yeah.
Okay. Hauling, yeah. Those numbers are pretty close. Wood, that's the bulky. Feel good about
Did
those.
we change the composting number?
I thought we did.
Yeah, I
Did we put
changed
that
it to 3,000.
I missed that little. I heard the
Well,
top.
we were
I
talking
heard the
about
top,
it.
but I didn't.
Yeah. No, we changed
We
it to
jumped around,
3,000.
pulled everyone back. So we Took that 10 to 3. So we're
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because when I talked to Randy, it was end of October
Yeah.
before he went hunting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we had
And
no
we hadn't
idea.
even, we were thinking
Yeah.
grant in the spring. And so, yeah, this was.
Yeah, we had no idea at that point.
So, yeah.
Any other questions on this one?
Nope.
Well, following down the line on page 28, 40, 450.
Yep.
Loader backhoe maintenance and miscellaneous parts.
Yep, we boosted that.
8,500. Just
So-
sank a, go ahead.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
We just sank a lot of money on the loader, and we still need that amount for maintenance.
So the loader was painted. It was sandblasted and painted, and we needed two hydraulic hoses, which I know blow all the time because my husband would come in the office and say, "I just blew a line." I'm like, $220.
Nice
Just for
hydraulic
those,
fluid back.
So, and it also needs to be greased, which Randy will do himself. They need to come up and change filters and all of that other stuff. Does that make sense, Joe?
It does.
If we had a complete engine overhaul,
the-
I would say
The amount of
no,
money that we
but
put into it, I thought that would be such that the loader would not necessarily need much in the way of maintenance afterwards, but again, it was more.
It's like the car.
It's-
but
yeah, it's
Usually
more-
you gotta service it.
yeah,
It's
it's more
expensive service
engine.
than a loader if you do it right.
Who called on him?
I don't know.
I
He's
think
here.
that number's a little high though for that
Messing with you.
explanation.
Well, it does say
Personally.
that it's for the cans too. The next two lines, I'm guessing, are part of that 8,500. That's what I assumed anyway.
No, that's a 10% increase over last year.
$7,000. Another 5,000 for other miscellaneous repairs. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
he never knows.
It's like a
We had a-
contingency, you know?
We had a wheel. What was those rails?
Oh.
The rails on
We did a couple of
compact.
decent
Yeah,
ones.
the rails on the compactors. We just had to do because they were worn. One of them was really worn, and then when he went to the other side, that one was worn too. So we had to do both of them. Those kind of things. I don't know. It
I'm
gets-
okay leaving it this way only because I think we've made an intentional effort to get caught up on some deferred maintenance up at the transfer station.
Yep.
And I'd be willing to see how, like, budget for it, but see how it goes and then people can review it next year.
All right.
Didn't we have a compactor reserve account that?
Yep, we do. We'll
Maybe
talk
fund
about
Not
that.
there yet.
We're not there yet.
Coming up.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
We are not.
So we dropped the fuel a little bit. We're just not using as much as we thought, and gas isn't $6 a gallon as we had actually predicted, thankfully.
Yes.
So. Any other questions, comments, heartaches, hassles, frustrations?
Not with us.
All right, I'll make those changes and come back to you. So Parks and Rec, the rink liner, I guess it just gets nasty. Only went up $2,040. And we had added, that's only because we added 2,000 for the new position to give them a little bit to work with.
They wouldn't have the 7,000 to work with?
Well, that's basically what Holly does.
Okay.
So we wanted to give them 2,000 and not get into that right at this point.
Okay.
I thought the concerts in the park were really well attended. So,
People seem to really like them.
yeah,
Yep. Thoughts, comments?
Good.
Can we go back to, so we're saying 7,000 and then 2,000 for the, theoretically for the new position to have some stuff to do. But when we look, I feel, so like 22 actual is 3,000, 23 actual, 2285, 24 actual, 4298. So I'm not saying it's not a real number, I'm just saying we haven't come close to 7,000. So
I think our rec committee is really flourishing this year. I mean, the letters to Santa, there's been a lot of new developments than there were before because we never knew with the whole COVID thing. She would make up, I guess before that, because that was my first year here. They would have this big pumpkin decorating thing. And then we had to go to, okay, we'll give you the pumpkins and the paint here, go home and do it. So I think they're starting to just get back on their feet to get some of these new programs going. And I think some new members that have been in there have really kind of flourished, the whole committee. So I hear what you're saying, Jessica.
Yeah.
I would just hate to see at this point to stifle their
Right.
creativity.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
guess
if you-
my point is I would be okay leaving the 7,000 and not adding the 2, so that those 2 positions have to, like, you gotta work together.
Work together.
Then if they can show, like, this is what we wanna do in addition next year, that's fine, like, with some data of, like, this is what, I don't know how they do it, I'm just saying, like, if I was in that position, I would take a month to month, like, here's the activity, here's the estimated cost, and here's what we're asking for budget.
Gotcha.
I don't know how it happens.
I understand.
Just based on this data, I'm not in favor of adding another 2 to that. Because they're not even they're not currently spending it. And it's not to say that they won't, I'm just saying, like, then that position can work together. I think half of that position is gonna be learning our parks and our
Correct.
rec and our
Oh, yeah.
everything. That's just me. I don't
What's
know other people's
onboarded?
thoughts.
Onboarding
point.
is the fun part.
I'm okay with being outnumbered on that too, but,
So knock it down to 7.
yeah, that's what I would do.
I'm good with leaving it at 9 because like Jeanette said, I see what like they do over there, like with the ice rink. We had the Santa box at the library. I know how many people came in, and so I would hate to stifle them and see, them have to hold back on something that they could offer the community. So that's my personal opinion.
When I look at this list and think about years past, like, I don't know, go back to 2012 in my mind, I think that's amazing, stuff that they do. And like I said, the parks, the music is good. I mean, it's very, I don't want to stifle their creativity either. And it'll be something we look at next year.
I'm fine with it.
Could we pare it back to 1,000?
We could do that. That would be a compromise.
I would do that.
Able to do this?
So make it 1,000.
Yeah.
So make the
Okay.
total number 8,000.
Yep.
There's a compromise. I knew we could do it.
We can always do it.
That's right.
And I'll just say, I'll be thrilled if they spend it all and do amazing things for our community.
Yeah.
I'll eat my words on that.
I love the enthusiasm for it.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen a lot just in the past year. It's like, cool.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, reserves. So the first one up is computer. Chose not to, I didn't think we'd get this far, honestly. I figured the Y thing would take a lot longer. So I don't have the balances. I have 117.24 in here. Do you guys want me to bypass this until I get the current balances in here?
I think it's if it's 117.24, that's a year.
Yeah,
ago?
because you don't add much to it other than interest. So in 117.24, we had $20,660, which we felt was really good. And then we took 7,500 out of this account to buy into and get our foot in the door
Mhm.
for Town Cloud. So if we go with Town Cloud, then I would like to put it back. Instead of making it 7,500 in the one up in 110, I'd like to make that 7,500 and 7,500 a year, or put the whole 15 up there so we could put it back into the reserve, however it works out. But that was my thought process on that. So let's leave that one alone. Compactor reserve. So we said, okay, we're gonna start adding some. We added 7,500 last year. I flat funded it for 7,500 for next year. Thoughts?
I think that's a fine number.
I think that's a nice steady way to keep
Yep.
pace.
Yep.
I remember talking about this last year.
A lot. Ken
Yeah.
brought us a lot of good information.
Yes,
He did, yes.
yes, he did.
So, yeah.
So just a quick one, I'm having a hard time understanding the narrative here. Compactors are about 20,000 each.
Yep.
Zero as projected revenue move for FY '23 is 43K.
correct.
But
So,
you recommend, go ahead, I'm sorry.
nope, go ahead.
No, well, go into the explanation, please.
Okay, so you guys voted a while ago
Mhm.
that the revenue that the transfer station brings in, they can put into a reserve account, and that's how you purchased your loader. So I wanted to put the information in here that estimated revenue from last year would be going into that reserve account, so that you would have all of that information.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we go with 7,500?
Yes.
Okay, reserves building. So in the past few years, we've been putting 50,000 in a capital improvement line, which is Department 191 at the bottom. We've made some gains, but we always end up putting some money back into the kitty. So what I'd like to see done is move that 50,000 that was in CIP up to the reserve and put it in the revolving fund. So if you want to know what page that was on,
Yeah, please.
31.
no,
Oh, no, the other account.
the 50,000 we've been, it's on page 37. So we budgeted 23, 24, 50,000, but we only used 12. We budgeted in 25, 50,000. We're gonna use some of that, but I don't think we're gonna use all of it.
Well, so we've paused on the town hall next phase because we had to bring to the voters doing the land swap.
Yep.
So, the architect engineers we're working with, they just bill us as we're working with them, and we haven't, everything was on hold, so that's why that number's at 12. Now that I still have to get contingency agreements signed and deeds drawn up, we'll have to survey the land swap. But then once that is finalized, both parties are ready to go, then we're really gonna start working on developing the plans for the town hall expansion. And we've talked to them about getting some cost estimates as to what, building costs may be, so we can work that into the budget. I think when we put this out, did we put it out to bid? If I remember correctly, we did architect engineering, we put it out to bid.
Yeah.
And that's who you're referring to when you say
Yeah.
them.
Them, yeah,
Okay.
I'm trying to think of the name of their
I
firm.
can't think of it either, but I know who you're referring to, because I
Custom
remember having that
Concepts.
conversation.
Yeah.
So, if I recall, I think they bid 50,000, so we agreed to pay them that 50,000 for their services. They just haven't, you know, we've been waiting for things to move along before we can keep punching forward. So that's why it hasn't.
Which I get, I just hate to keep asking for the 50,000 and not using it, 50,000 and not using it, when we can put it in a reserve account and it'd still be there to use, and maybe we can ask
And
for less.
I like that idea too.
Yeah.
I just wanted to.
Anybody, you got?
Oh, no, you'll be scraping me off the ceiling if I do that.
She just
I
said.
can't read.
She just
I-
passed it and said, want to stay up?
I can't do sugar at
Anybody,
night.
would you like some? It's not all sugar though. It's good stuff.
And caffeine, that's what it is.
I dig it.
So just to make sure that I'm understanding, you're saying move the 50 into the reserve or the opposite?
Move the 50 that we were asking 50,000 in capital improvement,
Gotcha,
which is the short-term capital improvement.
gotcha.
So I'm thinking move the 50 from there into reserve, then we don't have to keep asking
Okay.
for more.
Okay.
And that's why that line
And then
increased.
not ask for the 50 in the other spot.
Right, exactly.
Then I'm okay with that.
Excellent.
And then we can ask to roll over whatever leftover funds we have for this year into the reserve account as well.
I mean,
Good?
I got that.
Yep.
If we have any, I don't know if we will or not. Okay, so the revaluation on page 32, year 5 of 10, 22,000. Good to go. Okay, South
Sorry.
Waterboro Road is
Yeah.
closed.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
My apologies, I can't recall, what was our guesstimate as to what the evaluation would cost us?
200,000.
200 Gs?
Yeah.
I think we might need
No, you're
to
good.
beef that up.
I was gonna say, I think the last one
It was
cost
200.
200 last
It
time.
was 200
and
last
10
time,
years
and
later, I think.
that was the goal that we were reaching. But given, they're still researching that 155 you guys
Mhm.
opened last week.
Mhm.
If that's the case and that is just the tables, I really think we need to boost it. But
So that is just.
yeah, it's looking like it is just the tables. So if that's 155 just to do that,
Hmm.
I feel like we were just doing
So
some
you have
good
110.
cutting money. I like I'm
Yes.
keeping track of it all over here.
so you have 110 in there now. So if it's 300 minus 1, divided by 5, 38,000 might be the way to go. If you do 38,000, you have 110 now. Say it's 300,000, because if just the tables are 155, I can't even imagine. Minus the 110, and then take that 190 and divide it by 5, because you've got 5 years left. 38,000. You're always squinching your face.
Can Can we do that again? I'm sorry.
Okay, so if I took 300,000,
300,000, yeah.
because just the table updates are 155, so you might as well times that by 2. You have 110,000 in there right now.
Okay.
That leaves you a balance of 190,000
And you're dividing that by 5.
by 5.
Okay. I don't know what I hit. Now I have 38. I didn't have 38 before. So. Okay.
I
Okay.
don't like it, but it's the responsible thing to do,
yeah.
so that we don't hit people.
Yeah.
All of us.
So you want me to change it to 38 and bring it back?
I don't want you to.
Yeah.
I know. I know, I get you. I totally get you.
Well, can we figure out just for people's, like, if we didn't bump it up this year and we did the evaluation that comes out, like, what would we have to in that 1 year?
for next year,
No, like, if we just kept it at 22,000, you know, for the 200,000.
It would be an extra 100,000.
yeah. Because
Okay.
we're on track.
Thanks.
We're-
I never get that one. Like I'm like, you're on the phone with your calculator.
Yes,
going, Jessica,
yes.
catch up.
Like,
Go, Jessica. Go, Jessica.
thank you.
Okay.
Anytime, Amber.
The property equalization project, we don't have that total on that yet. Capital improvement, I level funded it at 15. Resident disaster relief, I level funded that at 5. Kennybug Pond is no more. Bunganuck Park, I put in 20. Fire hydrants, I put in at 4. Charter Commission, I put in at 1. And the Dayrell Covert, we have a plan. So it looks like it's going to be 520,000, the Cousins Bridge, 520,000 to do that. So we are estimating 225,000 from LRAB, which leaves us a balance of 295,000. So if we put 100,000 in reserve for 3 years, this project will get done. That's the plan. Because I think it was a 3 to 5 lifespan, 3-year lifespan.
It's at 5, yeah, so we just,
Okay.
you know, but, you know, then the thing is you don't know what these are gonna cost 5 years down the road.
You just don't,
Yeah.
like revals.
Right, all of that stuff. But at the same time, if we don't start putting money away or put money away for it, when the next Patriots Day storm comes and throws that thing down the willy wax.
Oh, did that happen?
One time there was, I think it was the Patriots Day storm and the.
Washed it
one of those
right out?
big Elephants was down in the woods. You could see it down there where after the water receded,
Yeah.
it was out there like clearly it did not belong there.
I don't know if replacing it would have really prevented that.
No, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
that was an unexpected.
Oh, yeah, that's,
I was just thinking of a different note, the Bunganuck Reserve, and I know we put in 20,000 to start off this year, so we've spent pretty much almost all of it on just trying to get caught up on repairs and maintenance. I don't know if you guys want to consider like increasing that a little bit. I mean, we've barely touched like the park really in terms of like repairs and maintenance. There's still a lot of things that are in shambles.
Can I just say something, just from the other thing before, okay?
Yeah.
There is premises
lie.
liability and duty to repair. And there's a
Can
lot
you
of stuff, there's no mic.
right here.
There's premises liability and duty to repair, and a lot of it was pointed out during our walks. You're looking at a lot of money, especially if you're gonna let a camp there. I mean, once the town is notified of an issue, it has to be repaired. You can look up the laws. But seriously, if someone gets hurt, the town is fully liable. And there's a lot of stuff that was really a big problem, just from walking around with Acorn and the reports we got. So you might want to bump that up to 200,000.
200,000.
Well, look at the road going down. It's not even safe to be down there. Think of that. There's no safe way down.
So you do have capital improvement too.
Yeah, I get that. And I think we've just started hitting the capital improvement line more recently.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that, you know, if we kind of bring on someone who can, like we've talked about inventorying buildings and grounds, I think we'll find, I'd love to have a capital improvement plan and start developing that. But I'd hate to develop that and then we just use up the whole capital improvement line by the time we get a plan developed. But so they definitely, I don't know if I would go 200,000 on the Bunganut one, but I would think I would just want to consider, like, we've very quickly spent a lot of money just replacing a bridge that was falling apart and cleaning up invasive trees that were taking over, you know, a beautiful area, and we really just barely touched it. So
Yeah, there's a lot to do there.
yeah,
And we did want to, you know, we've been making that a focus of improving to make it more Four Seasons and stuff. We talked about that, and that's,
I want to think about that one if everyone's okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Tabling that. That's
I
okay.
Okay, we'll come
understand.
back. What about capital? You want to think about the whole thing?
Yes, please.
Okay. We can do that anytime. Jim, if I haven't heard anything.
We're starting the budget process on Thursday, next
Yay.
Thursday. I'm sure they have a very well-worked budget already.
I'm sure
They
he
work at
does.
the same-
So at this point, the only other thing I have is outsourced other, which is library, the Historical Society and PSAPs. And that starts on page 35.
Oh, can I ask you a question? Even if we're not going to work on it right now. Under outsourced general admin, there's James Thomas GIS Solutions for 4,500.
Yep.
Is this different than the GIS mapping?
Where are you
In-
seeing that one?
That one's under planning on page 34.
Yes.
Those are two different things.
So what Jim Thomas does are those big things hanging back there.
Okay.
And I actually have to increase that because his printer went out of business or retired. Now it's going to be more. So he does those and he sets that up. The GIS that you're looking at the other thing is that map online that overlays.
Okay. Okay.
So we pay him just to print them, is that what?
No,
Or
he
he updates and. then
He
print?
makes the updates. So if one map has just one change to it, he might leave that till next year.
Okay.
He updates whatever has come
So he's
in.
doing, okay. I just wanna
So
make sure.
if you're splitting lots, et cetera, if you have one map that has some lot split or a subdivision, he does those updates and then he sends it off to the printer. And I think we get 3 copies
Okay.
of it. So yeah, we don't do the whole set, but we do the updates that need to be done.
Yeah.
If they're significant.
No, it's fine. You just
Yeah.
were like, he
Okay.
does that, and I was like, he prints it for us. Sorry.
No, he makes the changes and then he
I'm
sends them
good.
to his printer.
So we're not,
It's a lot to keep up with.
not going to go into detail on this particular section right now.
On that
I'm not
outsource?
ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because on here you have the Y, and then we're still looking at what that 155,000 entails, and whether we need an assessing helper to finish up those old permits that we were talking about. So we're still not, until we have more information from your bid. Is there a specific line item you want to talk about?
No, Just noticed the amounts for Southern Maine Planning, both the Ordinance Review Committee and for Comprehensive Plan.
Yep.
Great organization. I think they'll do, they have done a lot of good work for us. I was just wondering if, how the timing would go on that. Would they hold off on doing anything with ORC until the Comprehensive Plan Committee assistance was completed? Is there anything that they can do concurrently in terms of providing assistance to both the Ordinance Review and the Comprehensive Plan? Just
So they're
throwing it out there.
working on that. So basically, SMPDC said they can help us with the comp plan within a year, which is why we wanted to start it now, because if hopefully we can get it done, I don't know, by January 26th, let's say.
So there'd be some overlap, Joe.
There'll be a little overlap, but then the ORC can, as we close on the comp plan, the ORC can start doing work again. They had a joint meeting, and I believe both committees came to an agreement that it didn't make sense for the ORC to really do a lot of work right now. Because not having the updated comp plan, they would be basically chasing their tails.
All right.
So they are currently kind of working with comp plan to help do the surveys and get public participation and feedback. And they're just kind of working together.
I did the survey yesterday.
And there's a roundtable discussions coming up in February. Too. Is it on
When is
Thursday,
it?
Saturday, or Fridays?
One's going to be on,
There's two of them.
I know.
one's going to be on a Saturday and one's going to be on the evening. And then we're going to hold more the next month. We're going to keep going the whole time. And there'll be another survey coming out kind of off the survey that we get.
Yeah, just the advertisement that I saw said
13th is
the 13th is Thursday.
Thursday,
6 p.m.
6 p.m. And then the 15th is a Saturday and it's
Okay.
10 a.m.
Okay, you just may want to check that announcement because I think it said
It said Valentine's Day.
the 14th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it said 14th and
Does it say?
15th when I saw it today.
Okay, I'll check that.
I got the date wrong.
That's right.
I'm like, wow. For people that don't want to celebrate Valentine's Day, you should go to the town hall. Or you can
People
come to
love
the
their
town hall and
town,
celebrate
you know?
Valentine's Day. It's all good.
So are you feeling that's too much, or you just
Oh, no,
want
I'm-
clarification
well,
on how
amounts
it's rolling?
Are different discussion, but I was just wondering again if Southern Maine could do anything concurrently with the two and maybe reduce.
Well, we talked
Yes,
about
no.
that.
As you get to
the
this
problem-
budget, I think.
The problem, we've talked about it with Southern Maine Planning, and I mean, they have a staffing crunch. So, they're struggling just like a lot of other agencies, and I don't think they're trying to work with us within a year, which I think they thought we were crazy when Peg and I met with them. We were like, can you do it in 3 months? And they're like, how about 2 years? I was like, oh.
They told them to get out. No.
Yeah, they came to us, they said they were willing to help as much as they can, but they also have staffing issues, and other municipalities are demanding the same thing, so, supply and demand, but, yeah.
So it's processing, but it's slow.
Right. So
Okay, so page 35, the library.
I'm out for this one.
Right. And then we have the Historical Society, which they're just asking for the same. And the PSAPs are gonna go up, which is based on, they're gonna go up to $10.50 per capita, according to the chief of police over there.
What happened to the font on page 36?
Really?
Oof.
It's the weird little detail behind it, that's why.
Oh, you know why? Because this is actually a capture.
Pasted.
So what I did was I screenshot it and I embedded it into,
Just to show.
just so you could see what they did last year.
That's too technical for me.
Oh,
Thank you.
come on, Vicky, you're good. Don't worry about
I
it.
am good.
Thoughts, headaches, hassles, frustrations,
No, I
questions?
mean, to look at it and see that the bottom line, outsourced other, it's come in and it's a little over $2,000 more than last year. The increase to 2263.
Yep.
I thought that was going to be quite a bit worse than that. Actually,
Still happy they're doing PSAPs over there for us,
yeah.
because that's been a problem in a lot of southern Maine towns. Where they just say, we're not gonna do it anymore.
I'm good with this.
Good.
Yep.
Move to BC.
Are you done? Martha?
Yep. That's really all I have completed at this point. I think we're getting there though. Thank you for playing.
Thanks for doing all of this.
We're gonna set dates for.
I was gonna say, do we have anything
more,
else set?
and I don't think we did. I think we have a workshop for something else.
We have the
Where's
10th.
We have the 10th for budget,
Committee.
we have the 10th for committee, yeah.
Yeah.
That's 4 o'clock on the 10th.
Yep.
Okay.
I will not be here for that.
So that's
I will
the
send my-
committee handbook and budget, or just committee handbook on
Right,
that?
yeah.
Just committee handbook.
Okay.
It's hard to hear you guys,
Sorry.
just saying.
You're here.
Do we want to schedule another budget?
We can.
Wrap it up.
I feel like we're pretty close.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're just kind of waiting on some straggling issues right now.
I'm trying to look at the dates.
Let's see.
Here, little
Joe, I
thing.
double checked, it is the 13th, so I'll have it.
Thursday.
I might have communicated the wrong
Okay.
line. I don't go for Valentine's Day either, so.
Alright, we have a regular meeting on Monday.
We have to take the kid with us.
You wanna wait and set it on Monday?
We need to leave, but
There.
I was just saying, we already have a regular meeting on Monday.
About the 20th?
It's a
Fast as January go
Wednesday.
by.
So the 20th is planning board is here, typically at 5:30.
Planning board on
That's
Wednesdays?
Thursday.
Oh, that's a Thursday, sorry.
Okay.
Who do I have? Oh, comprehensive plan will be meeting here at 6.
Okay.
I'm on vacation, 10th through the 20th, so.
Couldn't hack it, huh?
Do you want to try like Monday, the 24th?
It's the holiday.
It's almost,
The
17th.
the
17th.
17th
Yeah,
is the
17th.
holiday. That's almost a month away too.
I know, I throw a wrench in it, so feel free to be like, no. but-
I have Thursday, the 6th,
I was
which is
gonna
next
say,
Thursday.
yeah, would that give you
That's,
time to,
I'll be at fire
Okay.
commission at 5:15.
Oh.
But I
We
mean,
are-
not to say you guys can't do this without me for a minute, you know.
You
I
have
was
good
usually-
input.
We'll be doing the budget stuff, so.
I mean, what do we have left? We
How about
have
Wednesday the 5th? Is anyone here Wednesday the 5th?
the planning board
time?
at 5:30.
Friday, the 7th.
All of
I
Friday.
was-
Pizza meeting. No,
I wasn't-
I feel like, you know, we do have to consider that our employees are really.
Oh, it
good
makes
to
no difference to me.
Come here.
None,
27th?
unless it's the 8th. I can't do
That
the
is
8th.
comp plan as well.
Be a big
So you
jump.
might be better off with Monday, the 24th. And I think that might give us time, because there's only a few things.
Finish stuff up.
There's not a
Yeah.
whole lot left to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll have some more definitive answers, but.
Let's do it.
The 24th,
24th,
Yep.
what time?
Okay.
6.
6, yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
6, is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Ooh, I should probably put the title in. What is this? No title.
Where am I supposed to be? Who am I
No
supposed to be?
You never know. You never know.
So is that safe to say that our regular select board meeting is not gonna be the 17th, because it's Washington's birthday, it'll
It's
be the
that
18th?
Tuesday, yeah.
Well, I'm adding all this stuff to my calendar. Hey,
Okay,
Valentine's
thank
Day is
you.
on
Yes,
Friday.
Thank you.